Welcome to Eat Blog Talk, where food bloggers come to get their fill of the latest tips, tricks, and insight into the world of food blogging. If you feel that hunger for information, we'll provide you with the tools you need to add value to your blog, and we'll also ensure you're taking care of yourself, because food blogging is a demanding job. Now, please welcome your host, Megan
Hello,
Porta.
awesome people. How are you doing this week? I hope you are all surviving this last month and the final weeks of 2020. And not just surviving, but thriving in some way or ways. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about mental blocks and how they are the silent killers of our businesses and of our successes. First, though, if you would head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review Eat Blog Talk, I would be so grateful. It takes 2 minutes to do this, and those 2 minutes of your time are very appreciated. And they also add value to Eat Blog Talk, so thank you in advance. I'm so grateful for every single person who takes the time to do this. And are you thinking about diversifying your revenue streams in 2021? There are so many ways for food bloggers to make money in their businesses, and we have a 100% free email course that will help you sort through some of the possibilities that are waiting for you. This email course will take you through 5 lessons, and they take a deep dive into monetization strategies that will help you boost your revenue quickly. Let's get some extra cash flowing into your bank account in 2021. Doesn't that sound great? Go to eatblogtalk.com to get started. Let's chat about mental blocks, also known as success blocks. I love digging into this topic because doing so allows us to get to the bottom of some of the struggles we face as entrepreneurs and small business owners. It allows us to discover the reasons we are sometimes held back from achieving our dreams and achieving our successes. So often we try to find solutions for certain obstacles we face in the wrong places, and we unknowingly seek out band-aid options as opposed to fixing the actual source of the problem. So first of all, let's chat about what I'm referring to when I say mental block, because I don't want there to be any confusion about what I'm talking about. Some people may consider the term mental block to mean something entirely different. For the purposes of everything we'll be talking about in this episode, a mental block is a limiting belief that makes achieving success either really difficult or impossible. Whether we are aware of this or not, we have all been in a place in our lives where we have been presented with opportunities or some sort of success that we have blocked due to feelings of unworthiness. And usually we do this without even knowing we are doing it. Can you relate to this in any way? You feel like you are doing everything right, yet you aren't where you feel you should be. Maybe it relates to finances or blog traffic, or even your circle of peers, or the amount of clients or sales you draw in. It could relate to something larger scale, such as overall income generated, or it could relate to something really small, like your Instagram following that never seems to grow. It took me 9 years of being an entrepreneur, feeling like I was spinning my wheels constantly, working so hard, burning myself out over and over again, before realizing I had mental blocks that I needed to work through. Once I figured out these blocks existed and I started working on fixing them, it was like a huge heavy weight was lifted from my shoulders. Either you are nodding your head right now, fully knowing what your own personal blocks are, or you are like, really? Something I can't see and that I'm not even aware of is holding me back from success? If you are in the latter camp, this might be a hard concept to work through and swallow at first. It's really hard to understand that there are deep-rooted thoughts sitting in our subconscious minds that are holding us back because that just seems ridiculous. That beliefs that don't even actually enter our thoughts can hold us back? What? If you feel like a breakthrough is due in some area of your business, you likely have some mental blocks that you need to work through. These mental blocks can be the silent killers of our businesses because most of the time we don't even know they're there. So how in the world are we supposed to address them? They are inner conflicts that we aren't even always aware are happening. So they are very, very, very sneaky success stealers. Don't panic though. We will walk through some steps in this episode to help you discover and uncover what your mental blocks are and also ways to address them. Just a disclaimer here, I am not a psychologist. I am not a licensed health professional in any way. So everything I talk about in this episode comes from my experience and from doing a lot of research. If sorting through mental blocks brings up trauma or depression or anything serious along those lines, please seek professional help. I want to tell you a quick story about my own discovery of my first mental block. I had been following a successful author and entrepreneur who talks often about something she calls money blocks. I read all of her books and read every single email of hers that landed in my inbox thoroughly for years before believing that I myself could actually have blocks that were keeping me from making money. I always thought I was immune to it somehow, but one day it clicked with me. I had the thought, wait a second, maybe I have money blocks. In all the time I've been blogging, I've always had this feeling like as much and as hard as I work, I am not making as much money as I should be. This was my first indicator that I probably had a money block of my own and that I needed to sort through it. I did a lot of journaling about what my parents taught me about money as a kid, and I worked through some of those thoughts and feelings and memories on my own. My parents had really, really, really bad relationships with money, and lucky for me, they had different issues with money. So I was subjected to the whole gamut of money issues. P.S. I love my mom and dad. They are honestly the best. They will tell you probably themselves that they are terrible with money. Even though I wasn't consciously thinking any of these things, they were rooted firmly in my subconscious. By the way, I feel I should interject here about how powerful the subconscious mind is. According to Bruce Lipton, who is the author of the book, The Biology of Belief, quote, "The subconscious mind is running programs that are 1,000,000 times more powerful than the processing abilities of the conscious mind," end quote. Do not underestimate the power of that sneaky little guy who lives with all of us, also known as the subconscious. So I worked through a lot of my money blocks and got to a place where I felt I had convinced my subconscious that I shouldn't have to work super hard just to make peanuts. After I sorted through all of this, I still felt like there was something that was holding me back in the realm of earning money. I couldn't figure out what could possibly be left to explore. Then I had the thought that I should explore something in my life that has always come easily for me and to do a side-by-side comparison. For me, that topic is love. One of the things my parents always did well was send me the message that I was loved and that I was worthy of receiving love. My parents divorced when I was really young, and I spent my childhood bouncing between parents and cities and states. But despite all of that, there was never a moment when I didn't feel totally surrounded by and worthy of love. I unknowingly carried that sense of love worthiness into adulthood, and I have managed to attract all of these incredible people who I love and who love me back, just like I unknowingly carried a sense of money unworthiness into adulthood and managed not to attract money for so long. Both were unknowing. One was a very good thing to carry around, and the other had basically put a deadbolt lock on my bank account for a lot of years. Once I figured out that I always felt worthy of receiving love, I used that as a comparison, and I was able to uncover my remaining piece of the money block so much more easily. Not only were all of those dysfunctional thoughts about money ingrained in my brain, but I still believed that I wasn't worthy of making money or achieving success on the level I wanted. It all came down to an unknown feeling of unworthiness. This was such a shock to me. And that is what mental or success blocks are all about. How worthy we believe we are to receive fill in the blank, and what thoughts we repeat to ourselves that support that. So I thought, okay, if I believe that I'm worthy of receiving love, then I am certainly worthy of anything else I want in my life, including money. And that acknowledgement was the very first step. After working through my money unworthiness issues, there were other blocks waiting for me. There's the overarching success block telling me that I'm not worthy of achieving a certain level of success, which is another big fat lie. And there are other littler, less intrusive blocks that keep me from achieving success in really specific areas. Here are some examples of mental blocks you might be experiencing and that you might be able to relate to. Your follower count on any given platform is laughably low, no matter how hard you work to grow it. Opportunities never seem to come your way as you watch people all around you being swarmed with opportunities and fortune. You work tirelessly on increasing your blog traffic, but it never seems to increase. You are surrounded by low-quality people, so gossipers, problem-focused people, and people who hold you back instead of filling you up and lifting you up. No one ever buys anything you make. You feel like you should be making way more money than you are, given the amount of effort you are putting in. If any of these sound familiar to you, or if you have something else that is holding your success back in a way that doesn't make any sense, it is very likely that you have your own mental blocks to wrangle. This topic is not talked about enough, in my opinion. It is a very underrated and very underestimated issue. It is the root cause of so much of the bad stuff that occurs in our businesses. Not addressing mental blocks is the reason we quit. It is the reason we get frustrated and we get burned out. It is the cause of much entrepreneurial strife. And most of the time, we don't even know that this is what is happening. I encourage you to think through things within your business that you feel are being blocked. Pick one small thing and do the work toward unblocking it. Once you get that down, you can move to bigger things. And again, if this process brings up any serious emotions or issues such as trauma or depression, please stop and seek professional help. Number 1, acknowledge one block in your business that is holding you back from success. Start with one small thing and keep in mind that awareness is a very important first step. Number 2, journal about this thing or talk through it with a trusted friend. Pinpoint where the untrue stories are coming from and rewrite those stories. If your parents delivered the message to you that scraping by is the only way to get through life, write this out on paper, and when you look at it, it's going to look ridiculous. So you can take those words and you can write a completely new story. Journal about what is your actual story on this topic and start retraining your thoughts to repeat the positive, true story. Recognize that the things blocking you are lies. By journaling or talking through these things, you will call out the lies and you will replace them with truths. Number 3, pinpoint something that has always flowed into your life easily and use it as a way to boost feelings of self-worth. If that one part of your life flows effortlessly, then others can and should too. Number 4, repeat the following to yourself multiple times a day. I am worthy. Number 5, change your thought patterns. Anytime a negative thought enters your mind, rephrase it to reflect a positive thought. Make this practice a habit. Number 6, forgive people who may have implanted negative thoughts into your mind. We're all doing our best all the time. Our parents were all doing their best. Friends and family members from our past were doing their best. Have grace and do not hold grudges as you work through mental blocks. Be grateful that you have the lesson to learn and forgive everybody. Number 7, gratitude. Always gratitude. Along with forgiveness comes gratitude. Express gratitude in a journal or just in your mind as much as you possibly can. Have gratitude for the blocks you're uncovering and the success that is heading your way. Have gratitude for your failures because they are your best teachers. Have gratitude for absolutely everything. Number 8, if you still are not getting anywhere, go back to step 2 and keep digging until you discover what is holding you back. The most important point from above is to implant in your brain that you are worthy of whatever it is. Fill in the blank. If nothing else, repeat, I am worthy to yourself until you actually believe it, and things will start to change. Once you see the power of releasing mental blocks, you will be inspired to release more, which will allow opportunities and successes and people to flow into your business. Mental blocks are sneaky. They're silent. We often don't know they exist. Calling them out releases absolute magic. And I can't wait to hear about the blocks you work through. Please feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk through anything from this episode. I love talking about mental blocks and I love watching people get past them. Here's to releasing good, positive, productive things, people, and opportunities in the new year. Thank you so much for being here, food bloggers. I will see you next time.
We're glad you could join us on this episode of Eat Blog Talk. For more resources based on today's discussion, as well as show notes and an opportunity to be on a future episode of the show, be sure to head to eatblogtalk.com. If you feel that hunger for information, we'll be here to feed you on Eat Blog Talk.